So it's back to the drawing board for the State Redistricting Commission. The courts decided they need to redraw the state Senate maps in Detroit because they're unconstitutional.
The commission went through the same process for the U.S. House and Michigan House districts. And just like last time, they need to hold public meetings before the redrawing can be official.
Joining us live to discuss are Commissioners Anthony Eade and Brittany Kellum. Thank you both for being here today.
Of course.
So this might feel like deja vu to some of our viewers. They've been hearing about this for a while with various maps in the Detroit area. Brittany, can you break down in the simplest terms how we got here to where you guys are painstakingly redrawing these maps?
Yeah, sure. So in 2018, there was an initiative on the ballot to elect citizens, not politicians, to redraw and take place in the remapping process. And in the past, politicians have privately and maybe unfairly drawn maps that deeply impact the citizens of various areas, particularly now we're talking about the Metro Detroit area. So this is a vote of the people. This is something that, whether people remember or not, it was on the ballot and we were selected randomly to draw the maps and redistrict.
And Anthony, this process has been contentious at times. Can you talk about that and also just the responsibility that comes with making sure that these maps are fairly drawn?
Yeah, and that's why we're here, in order to get community feedback so the community can come to the commission and let us know about their communities of interest. These are, I kind of like to think of it as the fabric that holds communities together. They can be, factors such as a socioeconomical factor, a cultural history, an economic history, perhaps an agricultural history, the things that really make the fabric that weaves the community together. That's what the commission needs to hear in order to get this right and in order to have districts that are fair and truly represent the will of the people.
So you guys have already had several meetings. There's some public comment coming up, and then there will be more and more meetings. Can you kind of break down what that process is like? And the deadline is in July, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so how do we get from where we are now to that finalized map?
Well, the commission has been meeting for the past week or so in order to create some pretty preliminary districts. Coming up on May 7th, May 8th, and May 9th, the commission has our first round of public comments. At those meetings, the public is invited to come out and speak to us and let us know about how they want these maps to be drawn. When that is done, we will take that feedback and create some new plans, submit those to the court, and eventually have a second round of public hearings where we hope the public will let us know which of the drafts they like best. Then after that, we'll make a final decision as a commission and hand it off to the courts to adopt.
We hear our leaders, Brittany, talking about how important public input is in something like this. Do you think that the public recognizes the importance of this?
I think they are starting to. I've personally witnessed throughout the House process when we were remapping those maps, I saw the click, I saw the aha moment for a lot of citizens, for a lot of members of the public, where they're just starting to understand, wow, we can really embark on this process with you all. You are not politicians. You are people that are mothers, grandmothers, full-time students for some of us working. We come from a variety and a diverse background. So I think it is very, very important for the public to weigh in. It's important, like Anthony said, Commissioner Eade said, to come out on the 7th, Warren Community Center. The 8th, we're going to be at Pearls Event Center in Southfield. On the 9th, we're going to be at Wayne State University at the Student Center. So we cannot draw these maps without hearing from people that live in the neighborhoods, people that live in these areas, because we come from diverse cities and areas all over Michigan. So there's no such thing as drawing these maps in a process that does not involve the citizens of the Metro Detroit area.
And people are always going to wonder, how exactly is this going to affect me? So we're in an election year. We're headed into the November election. So say this map is adopted fully after the July deadline. How might that impact this year?
So the commission's very happy that the court adopted the House plan that we drew, the Motown Sound map, which was the plan that was the most preferred by the public. This year, in 2024, that plan, the Motown Sound plan, is going to be used in both the August primary and the November general. What we're currently doing for the Michigan Senate, that next election isn't until 2026. Okay. So we have a little bit more time, but come 2026, one election cycle away, these districts will be the ones in play that determine who our communities send to Lansing and then who the folks in Lansing make laws for the community.
For the people who don't realize, Brittany, how important this is, if we didn't remedy this situation, what impact could that have?
It has every impact on who represents you, the things that people are fighting for in neighborhoods, choices and resources that folks get access to, especially when we think of disenfranchised voters, people of color, black, brown, and different social and economic status. It gives a chance to renew that trust into the process. So I think if anything that we could say as commissioners, we could speak for the whole, it is a grand opportunity to take advantage of this process and be fully involved in a way where you can see suggestions, your public comments reflected in the maps that we're actively redrawing. And that's a part of the public comment process. That's a part of our comments moment that we have at the beginning of our meetings. We're actively looking for suggestions in specific places where people are understanding, okay, this is the impact. I live in this area. I live in the Lansing area. If I say that I want the lines drawn out this way for the Senate map, then I'm also understanding how that reflects in other communities. So it's a beautiful opportunity, really, for people to come together and kind of have this neighboring spirit.
And what kind of input exactly are you looking for? Comments from people? They might be thinking, well, I'm not a map drawing expert. I don't know what I could really offer. What kind of specific comment might people be able to offer? Or can they just come by and listen and kind of observe what's happening?
So they can do both, and I'm sure Commissioner Eat might have something to add, but I will say that because we've done preliminary maps, right? We've been drawing for last week and we're drawing now. They can look at those maps and say, gee, I really don't like the way this line comes across this street. This actually splits a community center, or splits a garden that me and my neighbors have been working on. And we have a lot of synergy or connection with this community across the way from us. So these are the things that we need to hear. For instance, from the house maps, we heard from communities in Palmer Park and Ferndale that wanted to have connection based upon resources, based upon the people that live there. And we listened to that and we implemented those changes.
I would say don't be afraid to get specific. Let us know where your neighborhood is. Are there any boundaries to that neighborhood? Are there any neighboring areas, whether it be a neighborhood or maybe a park or just another community that you go to, you know? And let us know your community of interest. We have opportunities as well for folks to come out and talk to us virtually if they cannot make it in person, but that's really what it's about, getting the community involved so that we can get these districts right.
All right. Well, it can be kind of a convoluted issue, but you guys broke it down so well for us. Thank you so much for coming by today. These are Commissioners Anthony Eid and Brittany Kellum. Again, that first public meeting will be May 7th, and they very much hope to see you there.
Please come.